What's up, Cardfighters? Today I'm bringing you a Mega Colony deck profile for Premium. But real quick, before we get started, I want to give Conroe Company a quick shout out. They took my mat that my friend Stephen Coy designed for me and turned it into a beautiful Protect 2 marker. I really appreciate what they did for me, and it came out very, very nice, and I will keep ordering their products for as long as they are around for. So for my grade zeros, I'm doing 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 crit stride fodders, because those are, in my opinion, the best crits we have. They're necessity to the premium format. 4 draw PGs, because, you know, getting on a damage check to draw a card, drive check to get a card to hand, and then the PGs pay for themselves is really nice. And the crits to run to soul, to give 10k to the Vanguard and draw a card. It helps with soul, power, and give you an extra hand advantage. And then the V era heal triggers, because they're 20k shield over 10, and sometimes, you know, it's just better, and the G Guardians might not be able to surpass 20k if the conditions aren't met. These are my personal choices. I like the little bit more aggression, but again, that's just my opinion. The V starter is good because you can just ride it, draw a card, and if you're going second, obviously you get a quick shield with all the V starters coming out. So for our grade 1 lineup, we have 3 high class moth, 3 flowing mutant twilight matter, 3 of the new promo that we just got in the TCG, not really sure how long it's been around for, called Area Stiller, and 2 brilliant blisters. High class moth is a very strong grade 1. It counts as a grade 3 in soul and deck, which is a great Gridora target. It can be used with Gunning Cleo, Antlion, to get off your grade 3 skills easier. And for hard once per turn, you can rest it, bottom deck a normal unit, countercharge 1, and prevent one of your opponent's rear guards from intercepting, which is really strong because sometimes their 5k, 10k intercepts can really matter. I'm running Matter in the deck because if you're on the Gridora Stride or on a Darkface Vanguard, while on Overwhelm, for example, it gets 3k power for Dark Device, so it's a 10k booster. Then at the end of the battle it boosts it, it runs into Soul to draw you a card. So not only does it keep applying pressure for the first time it swings, but it goes into Soul to draw a card, which can be used to Soul Blast for the Gridora Stride skill, or any other Soul Blastings that you have in the deck. I personally find it 3 at fine. With the new not VR stuff, with clan selection coming out, we have a lot of restanders that can show up in the premium format, like with Regalia, Dauntless, Ethic Buster, and all that. Brilliant Blister is fine at 2. It just helps to keep your opponent's Vanguard from restanding when they swing and all that. And it's just on Guardian Circle. It's just really good. So you can just drop it for a 5k on a rear guard if it's just a 5k drop, and just your opponent's Vanguard won't restand. It's nice to slow down, even like Duke, for example. And the Area Stiller is just Soul Blast, a grade 3. Oh, that's another reason why High Class Moth is good. Soul Blast 1 grade 3. If there's a marker on either player's field or unit, which includes cradle markers, you can Soul Blast 1 grade 3 and get an imaginary gift Protect. Doesn't matter if it's 2 or 1. You could do it turn while at grade 2 if you're able to cradle your opponent early enough. So for my grade 2s, I am running 3 copies of Bolas, Mantis, Mega Lancer, and a very old card called Iron Fist Mutant Roly Poly. It is a special intercept. So when it intercepts from the rear guard circle, it gets a 5k shield. My build is specifically around Protect 2, because I feel like it's an underwhelming Protect mechanic, even though it doesn't give the units intercept, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people wish it would have given those units intercepts. But to go from 15 to 20 and etc., because when he intercepts with roly-poly, it's always a 10k shield. And it just stacks, which makes guarding easier. And then if you go, like, ride Dark Face, you get a Protect 2. You can use the Area Stiller from the grade 1s to Soul Blast to grade 3 out of Soul and get another Protect 2. And it'll be 18k, but a 30k intercept, which will redirect attacks to try and pick him off. If you're facing a control deck, like Retire, Lock, and all that, you just go to Protect 1. And it's not really a bad card because it's still an intercept unit. It's a 10k shield. I'm running Mantis at 3. I really never liked running Mantis in the past. I do have other deck profiles, but they are all on my best friend's commander, Jaime. Check him out. Link will be in the description below. The reason why I opted to put him in now is because we have High Class Moth, which counts as a grade 1 in deck. So instead of looking just for grade 3 targets to ride, you can grab High Class Moth out of deck. Now you have a grade 1 booster and or a countercharger, depending on how much counterblast you're using up. Bolas is to help search out up to 2 Dark Face with different names, and because of the way I'm doing a Protect 2 engine, she easily you can easily proc her second effect to Soul Blast when I draw a card when she's over 20k power. And it's just really good to do that, because if you boost her with Twilight Matter, the one that runs into Soul, if you have a grade 4 Dark Face Vanguard, it's Soul Blast 1, draw a card. If she's on Protect 2 with a 10k boost, then at the end of the battle it attacks, put Matter into Soul to draw another card. So it's just losing 1 rear guard to draw 2 at that point. And she gets 6k power for every Cradle unit your opponent controls, which is really good. With Mega Lancer, he's really good because he gets 2,000 power for every rested rear guard your opponent controls. Yes, if you face Pale Moon or any decks that don't really have a lot, he's not going to power up as much, but what makes him good is that he can move any unit on your rear guard circle into Soul on his swing, and your opponent cannot intercept for that whole turn, which is really good. So it can help put in a card into your Soul to proc. Bolas, if you don't have a Soul, help with Dark Face. The Ghidorah Stride Dark Face, help put a grade 3 in Soul for, next turn to use Area Stiller. Just a really fantastic card overall, and hindering your opponent as much as possible, including if they have, multiple grade 2s in the front row to intercept, and they can't just throw them away to try and save hand advantage, is just really strong in my opinion. For grade 3s, we have 3 of our new Mega Colony grade 3 from the Fires collection, which is Venom Stinger. He is a great turn 1 ride for what he does. Auto, whenever a card goes into your opponent's damage zone, he gets 10,000 power while in the Vanguard circle. Then his second effect, when he attacks, you can counterblast 1, eat 1 rear guard you control. Then, until the end of his battle, whenever your opponent gets a trigger, you get to take that trigger instead of them getting it. And then you can Soul Blast 1 grade 3 to heal him up to 2 damage, and then ping him 1 for each one you heal. You get to choose the cards that heal. So if they have 2 face downs and 2 face ups, you can just heal their face ups and ping them for 2 more, and then take more triggers on that. And they decide to go no guard, and any damage you give them, you will still absorb, because it's not the end of the battle until they're done taking damage. So he's a great grade first target ride if you're going first. We have 3 Cyclomatooth. Cyclomatooth is in there because it's really strong. As even as a first ride, it's okay, but not as strong as Venom Stinger. It's good because it's Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, Vanguard Rearguard, mill the top card of your opponent's deck. It gets 10k power. If you mill a grade 1 or greater, it goes critical. Its second effect is when you ride over it, your opponent discards a card from their hand, and your Vanguard gets 5k power for each of that grade. Really good. I like to get it out off of the Ghidorah skills to make him bigger and more lethal. Then for my last target is not target, grade 3 is Intimidating Mutant Darkface. Darkface has been my favorite unit since G era. I like how they retrained him, where it's just when he's placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, discard a card, and you get to cradle a unit. So if you're going first with a stride, instead of riding Venom or Cyclomatooth, you can ride Darkface to discard a card and cradle a unit, and then proceed to stride. Now your opponent's a little bit hindered because you got a cradle off while going to the stride phase. Then you could just go into Ghidorah, Overwhelm, and just proceed with regular striding phase. And then when he's on Rearguard or Vanguard, when he swings, you can counterblast 1, kill a cradle unit. He gets 5k for every grade of that unit you killed, which will then proc the cradle effect to let you search out your deck for a grade of whatever you killed with it. I like this lineup. It's very strong in my opinion. With the amount of cards in there, I feel like it's really solid. Obviously, I'm not going to win all my games, but this is the build that I am comfortable with and I have a lot more successions with. Going into the G zones, we're going to start off with our G Guardians first. We have 1 Mixed Element Coldburn, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, 2 Featherwall Mutant Deities, 1 Grysport, and 1 7-star Mutant Deity Relish Lady. Her name always slips to my tongue. Colin Bird is, or however you say that, the elemental one. He's good because if your opponent is drawing a bunch of cards and you're on the defense, you can guard with him, discard a card, and he gets 5k for every 2 cards in your opponent's hand, which could be better than Featherwall. Featherwall is still good because it's a 10k, it's a 25k shield if your opponent has 2 or less standing units, so not that bad. Grysport is just a very strong G-Guard. I still go into it a lot because when it's placed on the Guardian Circle and your opponent's Vanguard attacks, you just counterblast 1 and rest the back row. And then you get 5k shield for every 2 units at rest, which can stack if it's even against an Excel deck and their last swing happens to be the Vanguard, for example. Then Relish Lady, she's forces your opponent to rest 2. If they cannot rest 2, you get to draw a soul charge and counter charge, so it's a good, kind of a good bait to try and get your opponent to think if they want to continue being aggro or not. For the remainder of my G zone, I'm running 4 Ghidorah, 3 Overwhelms, 1 Tyrantus, 1 Lawless, and 2 of our new Premium Collection Stride. Ghidorah is, in my opinion, the staple that carries Mega Colony all the way in Premium. It's just good that you really shouldn't skip striding her, but sometimes you'll have to skip striding her and go into like Overwhelm or Lawless. With the new Duke support, I am finding myself going to Overwhelm more than Ghidorah because when they do Duke Percival, they're bouncing their Aglavales, I believe it is, back to their hand. And you could stun their Vanguard, but if they have a grade 3 in hand, they'll just ride again and then call their Aglavales back. I'm finding it better to go into the Overwhelm turns because if they bounce all the units and kill the units for the restand, they're going to have between 1 to 0 units rearguards on the board, which will make her go quad crit and give you a potential draw. Lawless does what Lawless does. Counterblast 2, discard card. At GB2, your opponent can't call, period. The new Premium Collection Stride we got, I still feel like it's a great ticking time bomb. Because what's been happening in some of my games is when I don't go into Ghidorah, and I'll do like an Overwhelm turn, they start to G-Guard. And once they start G-Guarding, she starts, the new Premium Collection starts getting stronger. I can't remember her name, so please forgive me on that. And it opens up the possibility to where if you go into like a back-to-back Overwhelm and they go 2 G-Guards and it's a flip one, they have 3 face up, you can just stride into her, swing with her, and yeah, they could flip 2 G-Guards, but you're still guaranteed 15k if they're only running 5 G-Guards. And if you have enough hand, which this deck can generate at times, you can potentially live the next turn and go into her again and swing for the max number of 45. She's not our strongest stride, I'll say that, but she does have potential to be used somewhere in the right build. And again, it's just a ticking time bomb. Because if you're able to, again, if you can get your opponent to G guard 2 or 3 times and they end up with 4 in the G zone face up, you know they're probably only going to have between 1 or 2 left. And that's just going to be a massive power buff to the whole front row. But I mean, other than that, I like how the deck runs. I don't have any real issues with it. The one question I did get was, why don't I run one grade 1 PG? The way I look at it is, my grade 1 lineup is really, really tight, and I just can't fit it in, and I like having to draw PGs over grade 1. Yeah, I could search it off of Dark Face. I mean, when he like kills a grade 1, I can get the Cradle to search the grade 1 PG. But because I draw so much, it just wouldn't be running it. Oh, against the lock matchups, like with Chaos and Premium and all that, the best route I found, instead of going to Gridora, is just to go Overwhelm and just draw off of their board. Because they'll have, you know, maybe, even if it's just 2 or 3 draws you're still getting draws back. And you can potentially out-resource the Chaos build and all that, from my experience. Other than that, that's all I can really think of. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments down below, and I will do my best to get to them as quickly as I can. I'll leave a description to, again, Commander Jaime's profile in the link below. He makes great Grand Blue content and just great deck profiles in general, so please go over, watch some of his videos, and give him a subscribe.